Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Practical Systems call, and this is the part two of the time management success. And just like with the first one, so if you didn't see the first one, I'd advise going back and watching that. It will make a lot more sense. Um, just like then, I'm going to like mute myself here and queue up an older video of myself that is me just explaining this system. Um, I'm, older, tireder now, more tired rather. And I probably just won't say it as clearly as I did when I was like deep in it, and had just created the program. So I'm just gonna re-record. I'm just gonna play that. And as always, I'm here. Anybody who drops in live or who sees this later, I'm here to help. You know, troubleshoot, tailor this to your own specific situation anytime I can be of help. So I'm gonna go dark here, and then time travel to past me is gonna pop up and start explaining things. You'll see in my eyes that I was more vibrant.
Hey, what's up, everybody? All right, so Brandon back here with module two of your Path to Time Management Success, and this is the review module. So, once you've gotten to this one, you should have already established your the top five things you value and anything else that you are required to do that you may or may not value. And then you should have gone through and done a time audit or some semblance thereof so that you can figure out where your time is actually going. Okay, so what we're going to do here is this module is based on reviewing that time audit. Okay, so let's just get right into it here. So we're going to go through the goal of the module. We're going to go through 8 questions regarding the time audit, and then there will be an exercise for this one as well. All right, so the goal is to review your time audit and answer these 8 questions about how you're currently spending your time. And I want you, just like you did with the values, to go ahead and write these out or type them out somewhere, just anywhere that you'll be able to find them. Ideally, you do all of this, any of these exercises that require writing stuff, you would ideally put them all in the same place so you can find it easily. But that's up to you. All right, so the 8 questions. So I'm going to share them. I'm going to elaborate on each a bit, and I want you to think through them. And just spoiler, the exercise for this week will be going through those questions, okay, and making sure that you really understand when your brain does what best, when you do what best, because this is kind of like you've gotten the values, you've gotten where your time is going. This module here, you're going to figure out how things went based on the audit, and then using that information in module 3, you'll actually create your time block schedule. So think through these as I say them and elaborate. If you want, you can just go ahead and pause them. You could really do this one of 2 ways. You could kind of like hear me elaborate on one of them, share the question, elaborate, and you could type it down then, or you could just listen to or watch the video and then go back with the slides and do it later. So whichever you choose here, I'm going to go through them. So the first one, when was your most productive time? So when were you firing on all cylinders? When did you feel the most sharp mentally? That kind of thing. When was it easiest for you to sit down, whatever your job is? But I'm just going to assume the majority of people are probably doing some kind of desk job or something like that. If you're doing something more manual, this still applies. But I would say that this productive question here probably applies most to sitting down and actually doing like computer work or whatever it is versus your other manual labor. But even with the manual labor, there's probably time in the day that you're feeling more energetic to do that and time than you're not. So when was your most productive time applied to whatever it is you do? The next question here, when was your most creative time if you do creative things? So I realize not everybody has a creative aspect to their job. But what I mean by this, it could be anything. It could be writing articles or blogs. It could be actually creating some form of art. It could be, creating videos. It could be whatever it is, building or doing something with your hands, whatever it is that you could do, that you do creatively. if you do anything, when did you do that best? Now, this may coincide with your productive time, or it may be a different time. Productive time for you may be you sit down and crank out your tasks that you may or may not want to do. Creative time is a time that you set aside and your brain works best to just like zone in on this one thing. You know what I mean? So when was your most creative time? Next question here is, when did you crash? So I just want to kind of elaborate a bit here. This can look different for different people. Like I put here, it can look like you ran out of energy, and it could look like you just got mentally foggy. It could mean you kind of slip into distraction, you burn out. For me, I know that this is about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, usually closer to 3, pretty much every day. I start my work at 8. I work pretty much straight through, and then I hit 2 or 3 o'clock, and I start to get tired mentally, get tired physically, start to kind of like drift off on my phone or whatever, whatever it is. So when did you crash? And we'll get to strategies for dealing with that. But right now, think about when you crashed, whether you slipped off into distraction, whether you just kind of got super sleepy, super tired, super distracted and mentally foggy, whatever it is. The next one is, what things do you want to do or want to start doing that you aren't? So when you went through and audited your time, what things were on that list of values that you wanted to, those top 5 values that you did in module 1? What was on that list that when you look at your time audit is not really reflected there? If somebody were to look at your life and look at the way you spent your time, they wouldn't know that you value that. What things are there that you value but don't actually spend much time on? So go ahead and note that down. You can probably guess what the next one is here. What things do you, no, actually, that would be the one after this. What things do you not want to stop completely but want to do less of? So let's say, there are a billion things that this could be, but it could be you spend too much time replying to messages or emails. It's something you've got to do. Maybe it's even something you value doing, but you're spending way too much time doing it. It could be chatting with friends throughout the day. You don't want to cut that out completely, but it's taking up too much of your time right now, and you're being less productive because of it. It could be just something totally off the wall, not anything related to those things. What do you want to not stop completely, but you want to do less of? And then the next one is, what things do you want to stop doing completely? And this could look a bunch of different ways. It could just be, I get distracted on my phone. It could just be, I get distracted talking to people, or it could be something more like, something that you could outsource. You know what I mean? Like, I spend this much time a day doing this. It's not worth my time even. I could give this task to somebody else. There are a billion ways this could look, but what things, when you look at that time audit, would you like to see not even in there at all? All right. This is kind of in the same vein as that one. What things should you outsource or delegate, but more specific with it, either because you hate it, right? Or because you'd rather or should be doing something else. So for me, there are different things that this has looked like. Grocery pickup. My wife and I, we no longer go to the store and shop. We do Walmart or Aldi grocery pickup. Walmart's is free. You literally go in the app or go on their website and you create your grocery list, and you go there and pick it up. And if there's something else, they'll substitute things if they're out of something, and you can reject or accept their substitutions. That's what we do now. Hiring out lawn care. I used to be one of those people who was like, man, I'm never going to pay somebody to do something I could do like lawn care. Then I had a lawn that took me like an hour to cut, and I was just like, I'm hiring this out. I don't have time for this. You know what I mean? It could be something in your business that you pay someone else to do and actually make more money. I have a vintage furniture store, random I know, but a vintage furniture store online that I sell things, and I pay my wife actually, because why not put the money toward our family, but I pay my wife to do all the listing for me, to list all those items online and things like that. And so, you know what I mean? And if she wouldn't do it, I would pay somebody else to do it more than likely, because I hate doing it, and it's tedious and takes up a lot of time that I could spend doing something else. So what things should you outsource or delegate? And even, let me just one more note on that one. Even if it's something that you can't right now, maybe you don't have the funds to pay somebody to do whatever it is you're thinking of. Or maybe it's something that's a responsibility at work that currently you have to own and you can't hand it off to somebody else. Even if it's something you can't get rid of right now, still write it down and make it a goal eventually. And then what were your main distractions? So with this one, I wanted to go ahead and give the definition of this. A distraction is something you were doing when you didn't intend to be doing it. So the reason I put that there is I think when people think of distractions, they think of some of the things I've already listed as distractions. Things like scrolling social media, watching too much TV, making small talk with people, constantly checking emails or Messenger or wherever it is you Instagram DMs, wherever you are normally, constantly checking that rather than having a specified time to do it. Whatever it is, distraction can look those ways, or distraction can look like something really good. It can look like getting on the phone and catching up with a friend for a long period of time. It can look like whatever. Distraction is, I think, distraction is one of those things that you have to try to stay away from. I know that sounds very obvious, but distraction doesn't mean you can't do any of those things. You can literally, like, I literally plan out time to play a video game on my phone. I literally plan out time to be on social media. I literally plan out time to make small talk and chat with people. Those are not distractions because it's what I plan to do. You know what I mean? But if I had not planned to do it, and I know as I've been doing this time management coaching, there are a lot of times that somebody I'm working with, I realize, okay, they had a plan, they had a really workable plan, but then somebody calls them randomly, and they get on the phone for 45 minutes, and now their plan is shot, and they've got to figure it out, and they feel overwhelmed trying to figure it out. Don't let that happen. I'm not talking about not being available to people for emergencies. I'm not talking about any of that. There's a difference between being available to somebody for an emergency and being just at their whim all the time. You know what I mean? We'll get into more of that later. I'll elaborate. But what are your main distractions? Distraction is something you were doing when you didn't intend to be doing it. Okay. So the exercise is literally just to go through those questions. If you did not choose to pause me sitting there talking about it and just go through it during that time, you can either watch this video back or just go through the slides. You don't need to hear me read the questions now that you've heard it and got an understanding of what I mean. Just go through the slides, write out these questions, and that is it for module 2. So at this point, by the time you're done with this, you'll have the values and you'll have the responsibilities. You'll have a time audit, and then you'll have the answer to these 8 questions, and you will be ready in the next one to build your schedule.
Okay, thank you, everybody. I am going to wrap it up here and see if anybody sees this and has questions and would like help. I am more than happy to to help apply that to your own situation. This is a 5-part course situation that I created a couple of years ago. This was part 2. If anybody stumbles onto this and says, "Hey, I want to go ahead and do all of this," and it's during the time period where not all of them are up yet, just let me know. I have the videos. I'm happy to send them to you, or the slide deck that I go through there. I have that. I have the videos. If anybody sees this, and like I said, they're not all yet posted because I'm doing these like in real time over the course of like several months. Um, then I'm happy to send you those so you have it all. And also, like I said at the beginning, to help just tailor it to your situation any way that I can. So hope you have a great night. I don't know if it's night when you're watching this, but hope you have a great whatever it is.